Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here again. Derek, it's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, man.
We're back, man. We got a great guest tonight. But before we get to that, we are enjoying some pregame beers. Our guest is in California.
Yep. Probably your favorite state for beers.
If you listen to this show, you know I'm a San Diego guy, and I cannot boast enough about my favorite San Diego beers. But look, I'm also a Las Vegas now. You know, I do love the beers that come out of Vegas. I gotta love this hometown. You know, I've lived here for 10 years. I'm basically like a local now.
Yeah, 100%.
So very excited. And with the fact that we're doing it over Zoom, this is awesome. Really happy to have him join this way because actually we get a little bit of video content too.
Yeah, which is nice. We got to get into that field a little bit, I think. I think
we should do better.
It's hard to do a beer podcast and talk about beer without people seeing the beer.
Yeah. But most people don't want to see you. That's the challenge. That's the challenge that we always deal with.
Yeah, Jesus.
Nah, I'm just kidding. It's actually both of us. No one wants to see either one of us. But Derek, who is our guest today?
So we got Phil. He runs an amazing site that I saw called Beer Goals. It's just funny stuff, like it's feel-good beer stuff. I'm like, I got to reach out to this guy because this is great.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
So you know what? You've given a great synopsis.
Yep.
I'm excited for the episode. I don't know about you. So Derek, why don't we just let it roll?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, my name is Stu Hawk, and this is my podcast about all the weird, crazy, spooky things that scare me and my guests, and the one thing that helps us forget all about them. Ladies and gentlemen, beer freaks. And we're back.
We are back
With our amazing guest today. Can you please, thank you for coming, by the way, can you please give our audience a little bit of an intro on who you are and what you do?
So my name is Phil Haney. I'm from Beer Goals. Started Beer Goals a couple of years ago after I kind of realized that everywhere you go, around the country, around the world, every little town, every little neighborhood in some places has their own brew, has their own brewery, has their own brew pub. And my whole thing was I want to drink all of it. So I set about setting Beer Goals. I was in this little town and I was like, oh my gosh, like I should make it a goal to try beer from as many places as possible. So the original beer goal is that I am now drinking 50 beers in each state. And that's 2,550 beers around the country. That's if you mathematicians, that's if you include Washington, D.C., which may be a state soon. I'm not sure. But so it's 2,550 beers across America.
Ooh,
50
that's a lot
beers.
Of beer. That's some beer goals. That is some beer goals. Now, when you finish that list, are you going to expand it out to like Puerto Rico, America, Samoa, get into like the annexation, all that,
Yeah, for sure. Do the territories. We'll do Canada. We'll do Europe. There's just, literally craft beer has literally taken over the world. I think there's probably beer goals we can set like each continent, really. My goal would be to
take the country.
Take the country and then the world.
Then take the world.
Now, after trying all these beers, Phil, do you have a specific one that you really like, or are you kind of just all over the board?
I'll be honest. I like all styles. I'm like, my kind of beer. What do you like? I like it with booze in it. I like alcohol.
Yeah.
To be honest, but I found the hazy craze is still going strong. The IPAs. I always like the IPAs because I do what I call beer math, which is I look at what the alcohol percentage is versus how much it costs from the tap, and then you can actually get the cheapest beer at the highest alcohol volume. So that's usually my beer of choice. Now I'm going to sound like a raging alcoholic, but no, my favorite.
We do it too.
We do the exact same thing.
That's right. Because it's value, man. It's value for money.
Exactly. I would rather buy like a $20 4-pack that's 12%. Rather than like a $12, 6-pack or whatever that's at like 5%. Like, no.
Yeah.
The problem is if you're going to drink the whole thing regardless, like that's what's really going to put you under.
Yeah.
Because if you're just going to crank those 4 back anyway.
Yeah.
That's okay, right?
Just keep.
It's
doing
totally okay. Just the morning Derek is not going to be so happy.
Yeah, it's not. But
Yeah.
no, that's
That's okay.
awesome, Phil.
Yeah.
Like that's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, so
It's
it's
the coolest goal.
So that's like the overall, the beer goal is like setting these like, trying beers, sampling beers from around the country. And then we create actual like beer goals that we create these videos.
You know what? Actually, you just said something that made me think like that's got to be a challenge to find 50 breweries in some states, right? Like throw in your area under the bus, like North Dakota. Are there 50 breweries? I know you're south. I'm just saying, at least South Dakota has, Mount Rushmore. There's probably some breweries around there,
Yeah.
But North Dakota, is there even 50 breweries there?
Probably not.
So when I first started doing this beer goal, a lot of people said that to me. They said, like Wyoming, like there's like 50 beers. I don't know if there's 50 people. You know what I mean? Like so, they're like, how are you going to like Rhode Island? Like really? Like they have 50 beers. So I kind of panicked. I'm like, oh my whole premise was going to be destroyed. So I started researching it, and according to my calculations, every state in the union does have at least, this isn't 50 breweries. This is just 50 beers. So if they have one brewery with 50 different beers, boom.
Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah,
That's it. Actually, you know what? That makes a lot of sense too, man. Because you had to go to 50 breweries in each. Like that would take you forever.
But guess what? Now that's another beer goal. Just half that. Do like 10 breweries in every state.
That's a good beer
I still
goal.
don't even know if there's 10 breweries in North Dakota, man. There's more cows than people. I think.
There's probably more beer than people too up there.
Well, I'm telling you though, if there's a town, there's a brewery. Like most places have, like if they have a post office, they have a brewery. Like it's become
that's a quote. That's a quote I'm going to take to the bank. They have a post office, they got a brewery.
No, dude, 100%. Dude, but Phil, we love it. We love just your whole goal, your whole concept. It's freaking awesome, man.
Thank you. Cheers, man. That's awesome.
Very cool.
Well, dude, Phil, we heard a lot of fun stuff about you, man. We got some good beer goals in us. But now the sad part is
not sad, exciting, adventurous, a little
scary, very true part of this. We got to hear about the fear, Phil. But
that's right.
We don't want to hear everything. Give us a little taste of the fear, and then we'll get into the beer.
Little preview.
Okay.
Little previewer.
All right. So my big fear in life is since a very early age, have had a fear of amputations and being an amputee, and also having my eyes gouged out. So
wow.
Yeah, it's very neurotic.
We've never had that on the show
yet. That's a new one. And that's awesome.
Very new one.
That's awesome.
It's very specific.
I would say this.
Like someone's just going to go, and here, I'll take it a step further.
See it in movies.
If I'm like using cutlery, or if I'm like doing the dishes and there's like a knife, I'll just have this fear that I'm just going, whoa, like just
slip.
like just for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, oh my God.
That's why your mom always tells you not to run with scissors. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
You don't want to pop that bad boy out.
You do not. Those guys will come out.
Now viscerally, I'm thinking about getting my eye gouged out, and that that's a legitimate fear.
It's like the movie Hostel with the drill.
Oh God, I loved watching those movies, but like, yeah, it was torture for me.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Torture.
Okay, so now we know the fear.
Yep.
Before we get into the beer, let's take a quick commercial break.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the fact that Pepto-Bismol made a song about all of the things that we hate. That's bold. Almost as bold as a beautiful, wonderful IPA pouring into a perfectly clean pint glass that we all just love and enjoy. Pepto-Bismol, they don't sponsor the show, but one day they will. Pepto-Bismol, sponsoring the show since 2023.
And we're back. Hope you enjoyed that commercial break.
Thank you, Pepto. You've helped me out quite a bit.
Indeed.
Oh,
Pepto. This program is brought to you by Pepto-Bismol.
Pepto-Bismol.
Pepto-Bismol does not actually affiliate or sponsor this show in any way.
Helping drunk people since 1972.
Sorry, we just had to cover our ass there for a second, Phil. But we're back. We know your fear. We got your background. Now we're getting into the beer portion. It's time for us to crack open some beers, as if we haven't already. But the ones that we're going to talk about, we're about to crack open. Now, as you know, the people who are listening, as we said earlier, we are doing a Zoom call with Phil, who is in Los Angeles. We're in Las Vegas. We did not coordinate the beers, so we have different beers. So what we're going to do is Phil is going to present his beer first. We're going to do a little review. He's going to try to describe it so Derek and I can at least drool a little bit about what he's got. And then we'll talk about what we've got over here because it aligns a little bit with Phil's beer.
I'm so excited to learn what beer you guys found. All right, so for tonight, I brought my this is my believe my second beer from Iowa, from the highly touted Toppling Goliath Brewery out of Iowa, and this is their Pompeii Mosaic Hop, the IPA. So thinking this should be a little bit hoppy. Yeah, this is out of, if I'm saying this right, Decorah, Iowa. Toppling Goliath. This is my second of 50. Second of 50 Iowa beers right here. So get a nice.
I'm so jealous that you got an IPA. I did not get an IPA.
You're a big IPA guy too.
I am super into IPAs.
Look at that sucker stew.
Yeah.
Oh,
that looks good.
Wow.
It's got a thick. It's it looks very juicy. Is it like a hazy or is it just a normal IPA?
Oh, that's hazy. That is the Citra is just wafting off of this guy right here. Oh my gosh. Nice. Yeah. A little bit of pineapple, I think.
Ooh, interesting. Any stone
that
fruit?
Was good. That was
the
stone fruit. Oh my God.
It's got a good nose on it. I just say that. I don't know what that means. I heard a guy at a winery say that one time. It's got a good nose on it. You just say that and people are like, oh my gosh, he knows what he's talking about.
They know what they're talking about.
If it smells at all, it's got a nose on it. Yeah. Like it's got a scent. I can smell it.
It honestly, it looks like freaking awesome.
This is delicious right here. Yeah, no, this is like a really great, again, I love the hazies. A lot of people are like, they're done with the hazy craze. Like I'm sorry, they're good. They're delicious. It tastes like delicious hoppy orange juice. Like I'm not gonna lie, they're good. Like I'm not gonna apologize for my love of the hops, love of the haze.
And that's the thing, man. Like, I mean, probably better than I do at this point. West Coast is all about the IPAs.
The dankness.
They went deep, they went deep with the IPAs. Everything tasted like a pine forest. And so, as much as I like IPAs, it was almost like, whoa, hang on, guys, just relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Like the hazy brought it back around. It's like, okay, it's a little bit more mellow. I'm not getting blasted in the face with a pine tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but if anybody's a fan of the hazies, this is like a really good take on it. A little pineapple, a little kind of citrus fruit on the back end, but cool. No, delicious. Cheers.
Did you have trouble getting it? I mean, it sounds like a relatively small brewery in Iowa. How did you acquire this?
Well, this one was actually, to be honest, out here we have Bevmo. I don't know if you guys have Bevmo. I actually, for my birthday a couple of weeks ago, the wife said, you know what, for your birthday, just take the credit card and go nuts at the beer store. So I did. I got some Alaskan Brewing. I got a bunch of local ones, some German beers. I even got some Canadian beers. And then I was like, it's hard though at the bigger chains and even, supermarket or whatever, if you don't go to like a real specialty bottle shop, as you guys know, to like find like out of state stuff. And I was like, oh man, it's like a 4-pack from Iowa. I was like, sweet. Like, all right.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I go on. I don't know if you guys do Tavour. Am I saying it right? Tavour. I order a lot on some of the brewery app.
I haven't used that one yet.
I'll have to look into some of those. Yeah, to like have it delivered.
They have like all those. Is Devour one of those that sends you like a sampler pack of beers like once a month or something like that?
No, that sounds awesome though. But this that's like the beer of the month club, which I've also got.
Yeah.
But
there's a few of those out there now.
Yeah, this you just like go. It's like you swipe right on the beer you want, and you put it in your cart. And then once the cart fills up, you get like a bunch of beer. And it can be dangerous though, because you give them your credit card, connect it to the app, and then you just go like, oh, there's a new beer for you to order from out of state that you never heard of, and you want to try for your 50 beer goals. And I'm just like, burp, burp, burp. Like, then I get this bill. I'm like, hey, let's put that in my pocket. Like, burp.
That was the birthday gift, right? Like, look, whatever.
Yeah,
it's all going on the card. Yeah, we'll pay it off.
No, it was. So I try to limit myself to that because I will just be like, hey, what is this bill that we got here for the? No, but it's Yeah, Devour's really good for out of state beers, and
Cool.
just you never know what you're gonna find. So I found this Toppling Goliath right at Bevmo. So
Nice.
cool. Yeah.
Toppling Goliath. Now, let me ask you this, Phil, just because I'm continuing to think about your beer goal, which I think is incredible. Now, would you consider Coors Light a beer from Colorado? Like, are you throwing that in the mix? And do you even touch that kind of beer?
I don't. I learned so. I joke about everything, whatever people want to drink. Early on, I was kind of like trying to I'm a beer snob. Like I'm trying to making fun of the big beers.
Yeah.
I kind of learned quickly. It's like who cares? If people like to drink that, whatever. We aim to educate. Is with the beer drinking. I personally like this. Like my beer goals is centered around craft beer, so like I probably wouldn't include a beer like that, like a big brand beer for the beer goals, just because I want to get the real local stuff. Like I said, like every small town has like its own brewery, so why not highlight that? Why not taste those? Whereas something anybody can get anywhere. But I wouldn't use. I do use those. I use I'll mainly because it's cheaper. Like if we're doing a beer goal that's kind of based on quantity, not quality. Like we filled the beer pillow with Bud Light. So I had like a 30-pack for $20 and just like poured it in there, and then I'm like sleeping on my beer pillow. And plus it's the middle of the night, like you just want something to keep you going, so you don't need the beer pillow. You don't need all this hops and haze and citra at 2 a.m. No. You just want a little sip to keep you nice and comfy.
Dude, you take a swill of an IPA at 2 a.m. You ain't going back to sleep.
Well, no, here's
gonna happen.
Here's the thing: are you building the beer pillow with cans, or check it out? What if you use those packs that people like go on hikes with, the Camelbacks?
Yes.
Right? You take the bladder from that, fill it with a beer IPA, right? A little hose out of your pillow, and then you're sleeping, and then you're like, I'm thirsty, and you find the hose and you just drink it. Back to bed.
That kind of knocks you out too.
That could be good for the airplane. Like, if people get back on the airplane and like you've got those little
thing, and you just fill the beer.
You're like, this is my I'm sleeping. You're just like drinking with the hose. Yeah, I like it, man. That's a whole new beer goal right there.
That's a
beer goals travel edition.
See, you've got to think beyond this first, round of it. You've got to, what's the next level? Is it conquering the world of travel? Is it conquering Antarctica? Right. Like what are we doing next? Mm-hmm. What are we doing?
I actually thought, because my ultimate beer goal would be to be able to have a beer from every continent. And I looked it up. There were scientists in Antarctica that homebrewed their own beer. So if I could get one of them to send me the homebrew from Antarctica, then it'd be complete.
Dude, what about if they're brewing beer in space? What about a space beer?
Yes. Well, that's a whole other beer goal, because I actually want to fly.
Blew my mind.
I want to fly on a what do you call it? Like those weather balloons. So the weather balloons can take it up, go all the way up to space, and then they come back down. I want to be the first one to drink a beer that's been to the outer reaches of the atmosphere. So,
dude, that would be like what's it? Felix Baumgartner. Could you imagine before he jumped out of that thing, if he like drank a beer and then jumped?
Well,
that would have been the best thing ever.
That was sponsored by Red Bull, so it probably would have had to have been like a Red Bull and vodka or something like that.
Which would have been awesome.
Would have been badass.
Oh my god!
Man, and you know what? Who's to say? Because I bet he had a Red Bull. Maybe he had a little vodka in there,
dude. You have
because if you're jumping from that high up, you got to have something.
It'll take the edge off. Yeah, man.
All right, Stu. You gotta jump into this guy.
Let's open this bad boy. Okay, so a little background on this beer. Honestly, this is by Jolly Pumpkin Artisanal Ales, which is out of Michigan, and it is an ale with spices added. Another future past collaboration with Anchorage Brewing. So this is from both. Technically, now would you count this as an Alaskan and a Michigan beer?
All day,
because it's a collab between the two.
Collab, dude.
I'll be honest, I've run into this issue a couple times, and don't tell anybody, but I usually count it towards whichever state I need.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll be like, I'm drinking Alaska beers today, and I'll be like, it's an Alaska beer. I guess technically, because I look up it on Untapped, and technically, I think because when they do collabs, it's usually one brewery provides some of the ingredients and like the I don't know, technical know-how, and then one brewery actually brews it. So it's like whatever soil it was brewed on is technically where it should be from.
Gotcha.
So it's like usually they list it first. I don't know.
Well, the primary logo on here is the Jolly Pumpkin Artisan Ales, but it is in collaboration with Anchorage Brewing. So I'm assuming
primary
Michigan was
it's probably where it was actually brewed. Yeah, there you go.
Wait, so it's a pumpkin ale?
I don't know. So actually, I'll be honest. Okay, I bought this beer. I went to Corey's. We all love Corey's here.
Corey's.
Nice.
You've probably never heard of Corey's. It is a local phenomenon because it is a great place to find unique, cool beers or wines or liquors. But it also has a bar inside the liquor store. So you can sit there, you can have a beer. You can even have a beer while you're browsing the store.
You can literally just grab a beer out of the cooler. And I think it's like $1, like wine, like a corkage fee. It's like $1 just if you grab a beer out of the thing to open it there and drink it. Obviously, you pay for the beer, but it's an extra $1 just to drink it there.
That sounds like heaven to me. I would never leave. I went to a really cool place like that in Oregon. I was drinking my Oregon 50 of McMinimans. I don't know if
McMinimans. Yes,
you know it's new McMinimans
is the best. Yes,
so
absolutely.
Great.
They've got. I mean, they have multiple locations. They bought like an old church. They turned it into a brewery.
So cool.
They bought an old bowling alley, turned it into a brewery. Like it's kind of become a bit of a conglomerate, but they make good beer.
That's freaking
awesome. We went. They actually had their beer. They had a old school that you could like eat in. You could stay there. It was like right in Portland, which was so cool. It was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, we had a blast. We did a little beer tour in Portland, and we wound up staying at McMinimans for way too long because we were trying to get to other breweries. Like, this is too fun, So let's open this bad boy. It's actually called, I'm probably going to butcher the name because Matame Ahorita.
That sounded good to me, Stu.
Does it work? Okay, cool. It's 5.5%. It is a sour, which I'm not usually a big sour guy, but it's going to give...
Is the Pepto ready?
we know which commercial we're going to throw in on this one. All right, so Derek, I'm going to pour yours so you can chug this and then run to the bathroom.
No joke, Phil. Sours, some sours will be okay with my body, but like some sours really hurt heartburn wise. So I've had to kind of steer clear. But we'll see.
Hopefully,
I get the pucker face. I'm
like,
Alaska/Michigan does you right.
This is crazy. Look at our color and Phil's color. Look how perfect that matched.
Not too bad right there.
Yeah, that's we did match in one way. Didn't match in style, brewery, or beer, but we matched in color.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. All right. Boom. Right there.
Yeah.
That looks delicious.
Oh, and I didn't even mention. Well, let me take a sip of this.
Oh, I can do that.
I dig that. Okay. Before we get into the because actually that's not too sour.
That's not too
bad.
The
reason I picked this beer, though, I just want to make sure I get this clear, is because Phil had texted us earlier today saying that what his fear was. He gave us like the heads up of what his fear was going to be. It was the amputation or like having his eye popped out. Now, if you look this beer up online, again, this is Jolly Pumpkin Artisanal Ales, Matame Ahorita. The picture, the can art or bottle art in this case, is a man with 3 eyes. 2 of them are still intact. One has been ripped out through the third eye socket.
I don't know if that guy, he's got 3, so he's got 1 to lose. Like, I don't, that's like, he's got a backup. That's actually awesome. he's doing it that way. He's ahead of the game.
But you know what? It's still got to hurt like hell.
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. And he's got a bear standing behind him for some reason. I feel like there's a backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I read. It's very ominous. That's very ominous.
I read the back. They didn't really describe what it is, so maybe there's like a bigger story. Maybe we got to look up Matame Ahorita, and that's Matame.
I always thought it'd be cool if I had a brewery, because like, you know how like all the craft breweries do all these like backstories and they'll write this paragraph, and I think I'm literally like, or probably guys like us who like love craft, like are probably only people who read all those stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most people are like, cool beer, man. They're not reading the weird like can art story. I thought it'd be cool is like if you had a brewery is to like actually make like a short movie, like each beer gets its own little like movie trailer.
Dude,
you get like a whole story. Like why stop with like the little like paragraph? Like look at that. Like who's reading that? You got to like get a movie, put it on YouTube. People will share it, make it insane. You know, so there could be a whole movie based on that guy getting his third eye ripped out. I want to watch that. I would drink the beer while I'm watching the movie about the guy with the third eye.
What if beer
Absolutely.
started doing, dude, that's perfect, Phil. Like this is
Well, you guys
what
have
if beer
seen,
started doing the wine stuff? You know how
you're talking about 19 crimes?
19
Yes,
crimes.
Yes.
Where you hold the phone up, the app, and then the label
Augmented
comes to
reality.
life.
Okay.
Dude, on
Yeah.
a beer label? That would be killer.
Have you seen
tell the
this
story?
Phil? The 19 crimes augmented
I don't think
reality?
so. No. Is that a thing? Oh, they
dude,
already do.
check
Oh,
it
so you put your phone over the bottle and like a movie happens?
Yeah, the whole thing
Oh.
is like the 19
It's
crimes. It's an
cool.
Australian winery, and they basically like their whole thing is like every bottle of wine has a prisoner on the front of it.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
when you
wow.
scan it, you have to download their app, but then you scan it and it gets into augmented reality. That character on the wine bottle comes to life. It's actually, and it
Whoa.
looks great.
So where you could literally like move the bottle around as long as
Yeah.
the phone's still on it. And then like it's
Oh,
crazy.
I love that.
And
I
they
love
tell
that
the story
technology.
about like why they got incarcerated.
Yeah.
Like this, I would love to see this guy's eye get ripped out.
Yeah, it's like a
sick,
whole little movie trailer happens on the label. I didn't even.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be like. I was just thinking like, oh, they like upload a movie, but like this is like it actually you play it on the bottle. Oh, that's
hell yeah.
cool. They're going to do that in
Hell
the
yeah.
future. That'll definitely happen. While we're in our self-driving cars, we'll be watching
We
can art
do that.
movies.
And we can scan the bottle,
Yeah.
download apps. We won't have to worry about paying attention to the road.
Nope.
All right,
the
so
car
what
will
do you
be
think of
driving.
this, dude?
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
excited.
I got to tell you, man, I am not, and Derek already knows this, but like, I am not a sour fan. So it hurt me almost to buy this, but I was like, look, this kind of works out too well for the fear. I got to get it. This beer is not all that sour. It's got, you know what it has the flavor of that you mentioned earlier in the show?
Stone fruit.
Well, I
No,
wasn't going to go stone. Are you getting like a peppery sort of flavor, like a little bit of a smoky like afternote?
I feel like there was something right away that kind of got me. Like I liked it, and I didn't think about it, but I can kind of see the pepper.
Yeah,
like I kind of get something a little bit.
It's like it's very smoke, like I'm also not a wine guy, which if you listen to the show, you know. But the one wine that I really like is a Petite Syrah, and Petite Syrah has that sort of
Those are
like
good.
peppery, almost like a smokier flavor. Like my wife and I went to Napa for our 5th anniversary, and I was miserable for most of it. It is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I was just like, this is like, but I will give her credit. She did bring me to the Lagunitas Brewery for one of the days because they're
Nice.
up in Petaluma. So that was awesome. But the one wine that I figured out that I don't like cabs. I mean, I don't dislike, I just don't like it.
Malbec.
Don't like Malbec, but a Petite Syrah, it has this smoky, sort of like almost peppery sort of back end.
All right.
And this reminds me very much of that.
Okay, cool, man. All right, I like it, dude. I wish you could be having this with us, Phil.
Oh, I could just be staring at the bottle and be terrified.
Yeah. How many
Comfortable,
Alaska
scared.
beers? How many Alaska beers do you have in your repertoire so far?
Oh, not that many. I just started on Alaska because they're hard to get, so I had to order them. I'm only probably like 6 or 7. So I've got a long way to go for Alaska. So I would
I'll
count that,
trade
even
you.
though it was brewed in Michigan. I'd be like, it's for Alaska, but
It's Alaskan.
Yeah.
it's Alaska.
All right.
It counts.
You could finish Michigan just with like Bell's Brewery, probably.
Yes. I have a bunch of bells,
Which
Bell's
is
great.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So good.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna take us into your fear with reading the back of this label
Oh boy.
because it's a little scary. It's a little fun. So to get into Phil's fear, on the back of this this beer that we had that was geared towards Phil's fear, it says, "Send for the witch, the one raised by the wolves. Men and dogs have hunted together for millennia, and cats have guarded the gates of hell since forever. If she won't kill me, what will?" So Phil,
Whoa.
tell us about your fear.
Jesus. They're poets. They're poets too.
That's
how can
intense.
Phil possibly follow that, by the way?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
that's
just like, no. Wow. So to tell you about the fear. So as I was saying, amputations, like eyes gouged out, since like a really early age, and I think what it stems from is when I was about 7 years old, I went to see the movie Jaws 4: The Revenge Have you guys
Shit,
ever
I didn't know
seen
there was
Jaws
four.
4: The Revenge?
There's like 80 of them, I think. But I've only seen
So-
2.
I've seen Sharknado 4, but I haven't seen
Jaws.
Jaws 4.
So Jaws. So there's the classic Steven Spielberg movie Jaws, which like everyone did,
Yeah.
everybody knows, it was like their whole life,
True.
right? So this is not that. This is the fourth one, which I don't know, they must have like Spielberg must have like sold the rights or something.
I'm
The
sure Spielberg
studio was
Yeah,
just-
distanced himself
I'm
like
out.
crazy from this movie.
So this movie now, looking back, is legendarily a bad movie. It's like got a roar. It's known for having a roaring shark. The sharks don't roar. The
Oh.
shark goes raw and like jumps out of the water and
Are you serious?
follows people. And, like it's like psychic or something. It can like the shark knows where the people are. There's all these weird like plot holes. Like how did the shark know where they were? All that kind of stuff. Anyway, that didn't matter. When I was 7 years old, I'm like, let's go to let's go to the new Jaws movie. And the problem is that the opening scene, there's like a guy in like a little dinghy. It's like late at night. He's like out on the water and he's got this, I'll never forget it. He has this like yellow raincoat on and he's sitting there and he's like, roping it up. I don't know what people, I'm not a boat guy, whatever boat people do. He's roping something. He's on a boat. That's all I know.
Using ropes.
He's using ropes on a boat, like whatever.
Yeah, he's pulling ropes and pushing ropes.
Yeah, he's pulling
ropes.
doing
Yeah, he's
this
doing
thing
shit.
with the ropes. I don't
Tying
know.
knots. Who knows?
Yeah,
For no reason. For no reason, too. Just tying knots
tying
and
a
shit,
shoe,
throwing
whatever.
stuff.
And so all of a sudden, they start with the music, and everyone's like, "Oh, great!" But little 7-year-old me is like, "Oh, cool! What's gonna happen?" So the dude just, long story short, gets his arm just immediately just arm ripped off. And he's like flopping around. It's a horror movie. He's like, my arm, and he's screaming, "My arm, my arm!" And I'm just like, so. And from that moment on, I've had this like huge fear, and like this is like years of thinking about it. I'm like, why am I like obsessed with this? I'm like, oh my gosh, it was the movie. And then the eye thing, I think I had a similar experience. I don't even know what it was. I remember seeing something like in a show or a movie where it was like a guy just getting like
Let's do.
yeah.
Woo!
So long story
No COVID,
short,
by the way. I got my vaccine.
So long story
Jeez.
short, don't let your kids watch crazy stuff when they're too young because it'll
Shit.
So that's where you think
Too
like
late.
it all
Too
stemmed
late.
from is those films.
Jaws.
So what
Yeah,
you just
I think
think, like-
Jaws 4 messed me up as a kid.
Definitely
Jaws
did.
4 the
Wait, wait, but-
Revenge.
So
But okay, but so that explains the amputation. But
Yeah.
what about the eye?
he said
That one I'm not
Yeah,
as
like
clear
show.
on. I have like a really vague like childhood memory of watching it was like on TV. It must have been a movie. It was pretty graphic. Like this guy, like it was like these mafia guys come and they take knives and they like shove it in his eyes. And it's like a part of it was like the man's like fear and like the tragedy of it. He's like standing there screaming, my eyes. I was just like, oh god. So like that just like drilled into my brain, like like the horror of it. And so yeah, so I watched those two things, but body horror just freaks me out, man. Like
Jeez, man.
yeah.
There, you know what, Phil? There is a difference definitely between like the horror films that are like the slasher films, right? Like the blood, the gore, the guts, all that stuff, or like the suspense that like I love a good movie that I see it in theater, cool, but I go home, then it fucks with my mind.
Right.
Like, I love movies that.
Like
Like
it stays with
Paranormal
you.
Activity, the first one to this day, I cannot leave my foot outside the cover.
Yeah,
So I totally feel you. And mind you, I
Exorcism
wasn't
movies.
a kid. This was like,
A couple of years
15 years ago.
That's
Totally,
fantastic.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but if
it's
you watch it
true.
at the wrong time, I'm telling you, it'll mess with you.
It's totally true. I still remember the first horror film I watched that I stayed up the whole night. I was 11 years old, saw The Sixth Sense.
Oh,
which
such a good movie. M. Night Shyamalan.
Which was like his best movie, by the way.
It
Like,
really
was
was.
downhill from there. But,
Definitely did.
but I still remember the scene so distinctly. Remember when what's his name? Haley Joe Osment.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Which his whole face grew except for his eyes and his mouth.
Jeez. So there's a scene in The Sixth Sense where he gets up in the middle of the night. He doesn't want to get up. You can tell like he's kind of like, he doesn't want to get up, but he's got to get up. He's got to go take a leak in the middle of the night. And the scene builds up. that you can it zooms in on the thermostat, temperatures dropping all of a sudden, like rapidly dropping. He's taking a leak and the door's cracked and the ghost goes by real fast. You're like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but that was creepy. Then he comes out of the bathroom very scared, and there's the woman in the kitchen who's like cut herself. She's got the big knife. She's like, you did this to me. Why did you do this to me? And I shit you not, that scene, much like yours, I was 11, dude. That was 23 years ago. And I'm still like, if I got to get up in the middle of the night to take a leak, I close that bathroom door. I do not want something like zooming past,
No cracks.
What I love about that is that intellectually, it's fine, but it's just like, you can't help it. It's like a natural fear. You're just like,
at 2 a.m. Dude, at 2 a.m., your brain does not work the same way. When you get up at 3 a.m. to take a leak, dude, and your brain is like, hey, did I leave the front door unlocked? There's probably ghosts getting in if I did.
There's tons of ghosts. There's always tons of ghosts.
Because clearly ghosts, they need the door to be unlocked to like get in the house. But like I let them in. That was my fault. Shit. And like, but you can't reason with your brain. Whereas like at 3 p.m., you're like, oh, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, I don't need to deal with this shit.
There's
but like ghosts, 3 a.m., you're just like, fuck, dude. There is no logic or anything that can convince you that there is not a ghost outside that door.
Yep.
You know what I always found weird? Why do people get under the covers when they think something's going to attack them? I never got that. I never I'm going to get like under the covers, but like then you're more vulnerable. They're going to get you.
You can't see. You can't see them coming. Yeah.
And I think that was the thing, because if you feel as a kid, if I can't see them, they can't see me.
Right.
So you're under the covers. I can't see him. You can't see me. We're good.
Yeah, but you still do that though with your feet.
I 100% still do that.
Like, so your feet are protected by this thin layer of like cloth that apparently is like the blanket is the shield.
Yeah,
I mean, shield.
To this day, I still can't even sleep with my back towards the edge of the bed, like because the fear of something coming to grab me. It's crazy, man.
Just remember this
day that you do, you're gonna get grabbed.
We get you guys back for the amputation stuff. Just remember tonight, it's coming for you. Think about it.
Oh Jesus! But no, it's awesome that you talk about this fear, Phil, because I think everybody kind of like. I mean, look at that. All three of us had films or TV shows or something. So now it's like one of those things. I feel like I put a foot in my mouth because I'm like, TV shows don't make kids do stuff or do like, no, it kind of messes kids up.
Fucks with your psychology, bro.
Yeah, man.
The Shining too, man. The Shining was another one that did it to me. The original Stanley Kubrick one, not the 90s one. But like the Shining, like I still, walking down a hallway, so I travel a lot for work, obviously before COVID, travel for work. When you get in, like if you had a couple of beers down at the hotel bar, you get it, you're walking up to your room at like 9 p.m. There's no one out there.
Right.
You're walking down this, and it's always ugly carpet. Why the fuck do hotels have the
always smells weird too, right? You could be in the nicest hotel in the world. There's like that weird like hotel smell.
It's because there was always that asshole who
maybe that's just where I stay. I don't know.
Well, no, I think you're right. I think there's always that asshole who like pissed in the hallway at some point. They just can't get that smell
drunk guy. Yeah, damn guy.
But like there's that scene, it freaks you out, man. And like the bathtub scene when he goes into that the room and there's the hot chick in the bathtub, but then she gets out and it's like an old lady and she's like walking towards him slowly, totally nude, by the way, which was really gross because it's like the 70-year-old woman.
Right.
Not that there's not hot 70-year-old women out there. I'm just saying like that was pretty rough to see when you're like 8 years old.
Grandma.
Like shit, that's what they look like older. Okay.
Did you see what was the sequel they had recently? A couple of years ago, there was like a sequel to the Shining.
Dr. Sleep.
That was pretty good though.
It was good. It was good on its own. Like it didn't have to be a sequel to The Shining. It was just kind of like its own thing. But they kept throwing in like references to the original. And I was like, it was weird.
They actually used original footage from the first movie, which was interesting. Yeah, but what I didn't like about that though, I gotta say, so like I'm a big Stephen King fan, and of course, like if you like Stephen King, actually Stephen King hates the Stanley Kubrick version.
That's right, yeah.
Because it doesn't follow the storyline at all. I like both the book and the movie. I think they're both incredible, but they're very different. Now, if you watch the Stanley Kubrick movie of The Shining, there's not a whole lot of like magic and shit like that. There's supernatural shit that's happening, but it's just sort of happening to them in this weird ambiance in this weird place. They went to Dr. Sleep and they were like, wait, we're now going to introduce some fucking magical characters that have this like these weird, crazy. It almost became like a superhero movie. It's
Right.
Like, what the fuck? This isn't The Shining, bro. Like,
Yeah.
What the hell is happening?
Yeah,
Here?
totally.
It bummed me out a lot because I was like, I mean, and you're right. It could have stood on its own. It's like, you know what? Just make this its own thing.
Which is how it should have been.
Don't flash back to The Shining and shit like that. Like, you know, but it was what it was. I thought it was a good movie. I was just like, this doesn't align at all with the sensibility of the first movie.
100%.
Now, Phil, I got a big question for you.
Yes, sir.
If you had to get something amputated, whether it was your arms or your feet or your legs,
If you're listening to this, Phil's eyes just got like saucers.
which would have been the perfect time to pluck one out.
Oh, gouge right there. Just
So
I had
you had
to.
to choose. You had to choose either one of your arms or one of your legs. What would you do?
Oh, probably definitely a leg because I just sit all day anyway. Right? Because like I feel like hands I need for beer and like typing and blah blah blah.
Okay.
So for me, like a
Logical.
leg wouldn't really change my lifestyle that much. I'd just be like a
I got you.
fat guy who likes to drink and sit at a computer all day. So like I'd be like, people. Then,
Well
then I'd have to like go to the bathroom and be like, "Oh crap, he's got like one leg," but like that would be it. You know what I mean?
a little bit, you know.
True. I
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
Be like hopping around, like trying to take a leak. I mean, your toilet would just be covered in piss on all sides, and like shit like that. You'd have the worst name.
Okay. Last one.
Yeah.
Both of your eyes or both of your both of your eyes or both of your arms.
Whoa.
You gotta pick.
Now that's a tough one, dude.
That's a tough one, dude.
I would probably arms. I feel at least because at least you could watch movies, drink through a straw.
That's true.
Dude. Yeah, you can
That's
still.
true.
Yeah.
Eyes
about that,
is that's tough. That's a real bad one for me. Oh yeah.
All right.
I'm sure there's so many people who probably listen to this like, man, these guys. I'm sure there's people who have a wonderful life who are blind with no arms, but it's a fear of mine. I'm sorry.
Man, dude. Okay.
You're always gonna offend someone these days. But I agree with you. I'd rather have.
I'm standing
sight
by this. I would not like to
That's
have
right.
my
I'm with you. I mean, look, you came in with that as your fear, so I
Yeah.
think you legitimately stood behind it, man.
That's my
fair.
phobia. You can't get mad at me. That's my phobia. That's my phobia.
Yep.
And on top of that, by the way, do you guys ever experience this? This is kind of off subject, but not really. When you drink a lot one night, the next day, do you ever get like really like paranoid or like freaked out or anything like that? Because there's a term for this, and I mean, I'm not a hot chick at a bar, so I don't feel like I've experienced that. But boy, that was also offensive. I'm gonna get canceled now. But look, so there's a term for it. It's called the Sunday Scaries, and apparently when you drink a lot, like it does something to your system where like as you're recovering, it actually makes you feel like weaker, so you're like more sensitive to shit. You're like freaked out easily by things.
Okay.
Have you ever experienced? You've never experienced this?
I'd have to think about it. I don't think so. But what about you, Phil?
I mean, I just like you get like irritable. I just thought it's like if like you're hungover, you're probably more irritable. Like have less sleep.
You're irritable for
But-
sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't know
But
there was
I-
like
but I
a word.
noticed-
I didn't know there was a term for it. The Sunday Scaries. Wow.
Which
Sunday
sounds
Scaries,
like
man.
a Nickelodeon show. The
Yes.
Sunday Scaries
Yeah.
on after.
Oh, that's funny.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah,
You
no,
broke down the science of. There's like a science behind it. I just thought like,
Well,
I drank too much. I'm irritable.
I'm
Wow.
not a scientist. I just play one on TV, but like this is what I hear. Like, and it made me feel better that I wasn't the only one because it would just be like I'd be like, you know, if I was really hungover on a Sunday, especially like one of those hangovers. Like for instance, I went to do a beer tour with my buddies in Colorado. We went to Denver, then we went to Fort Collins or Boulder, and then Fort Collins. We drank hard for 3 days. Got back on Sunday.
Nice.
Sunday, you know, it was one of those like 2-day hangover sort of situations.
Sure.
Getting older, those hangovers are just getting worse and
Can't
worse.
do
Lasts
it, man.
forever.
And that I remember Sunday night, I was just like staying up, like someone's gonna break into the house tonight for sure. Like I've never had a home intruder or someone breaking it, but I was like, yep, tonight someone's gonna do that. I'm just like
Jeez.
sitting there, like thinking, like I can't go to sleep even though I'm exhausted.
Wow.
I'm like, you know, and like I'm probably gonna get fired from my job soon, and like all the bullshit, all the random, like
Yeah.
the things,
dude.
you know, and it only happens after an intense like weekend of drinking.
Okay.
So
that'd be a good horror
Yeah.
movie right there, man. The Sunday Scary. It's just like this dude goes on bender and he's like all paranoid, messed up Sunday morning, and then like, but stuff
He's all
starts
by
to really
himself.
bleed into like real
all
life. You know,
yes,
Yeah.
all the things he's paranoid about actually happen.
Start happening.
Fuck. All right, I'm gonna start writing that
one.
I'll give you producer credits on that when it
All
comes
right,
to
let's
fruition.
do it.
You know, Ryan Reynolds is talking about a movie, about doing a movie about Home Alone, but like a new age version of it, where this guy's like gets really stoned, and then like he kind of thinks he's Home Alone, and just turns into this whole thing, and it's just his mind doing it because he's stoned.
I have not seen that,
Yeah.
but that sounds
Yeah.
hilarious.
It does sound pretty good.
Ryan Reynolds can basically do no wrong at this
He
point.
can't do anything wrong. I love that guy.
He's the guy. He's the guy.
Anyway, I could talk about Ryan Reynolds all day, so we'll switch topics.
Yeah. Well, and if Derek stepped aside for a second, you could see his early modeling and actor days where
Beautiful.
He's
Nice.
he likes to show this picture off quite a bit, by the way.
I just leave it in the bar because it's
I
just
would.
funny to see people's expressions. Because some people don't say anything, which I know you saw it.
Yeah.
You just don't say anything.
I don't want to say anything. I, on the other
I like
hand,
it.
bring it up as often as possible.
It's just fun.
Oh, excuse
Oh,
me.
nice. See, drink.
Oh,
well
You
done.
got a drink.
Drink.
Well done.
Drink. All right, so we heard Phil's fear, which I love, by the way, because I feel like everybody kind of has something, right?
Sure.
Like we all kind of
Well,
talked about already.
That's the beauty of the show.
Yeah.
And I'll say the interesting thing is not a single person has brought the same fear, which
Yep.
that
That's
is
amazing.
pretty shocking.
That's pretty
That's
nuts,
pretty shocking.
dude. Yeah.
What's the
I thought,
weirdest fear? What's like the whoa, dude? Like, what's the weirdest fear somebody had?
Yours is up there.
I knew it.
Yours is up there. No, but I would say the one, and you can chime in too.
Yeah.
The one that I think is the weirdest was actually before you became co-host.
Yeah.
I had my friend Ann Johnson on, and she lives out in Denver. Her fear was birds.
Oh,
She is afraid of birds because there is this working theory from these really paranoid people out there.
God, that birds are robots.
Birds are robots.
Yeah.
She's got this thing, and she
Whoa.
knows it's another thing where she knows it consciously. Like, there's no way this is the case, but
Yeah.
but what if they
Makes
are, and what if they're watching us and they're planning against us?
Who
Wow.
was on? There was another weird one.
I mean, Derek, yours when you joined the show, because you had to do your your fear
Initiation, yeah.
initiation. Yours was night terrors.
Yep. Night
Ooh.
terrors.
Ooh.
I mean, that's intense.
Oh, I have
I
a
get
fear
Yeah.
of, because you read about that stuff. I have a fear that I'm going to catch it. Like, you read about the shadow people that watch you when you sleep. I started
Yeah.
reading about that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get this now. Like, I can't. Dude, talking about it right now, I was like, oh God, because you go to bed that night after there was a documentary or a movie about it, and I was like,
Yeah. Yep.
oh my God, now I'm thinking about it. I'm going to have that now. Like, oh my God. Like the thing where they can't move, like they're paralyzed, like in their sleep.
Yeah.
Like the shadow comes in and
that's him.
looks at them. So I watched a whole
Dude.
documentary about that, and I was just worried that I was going to experience it that night. I was like, no,
And did you?
don't say that.
good.
No.
Yeah.
You'll have to text us tomorrow and let us know.
Oh, dude, it's scary, man.
No,
It's
but
so
I'll have
scary.
it. Like, it'll be the shadow person will be like plucking my eyes out. That'll be.
You will, yeah. Oh my God, dude. Fear on top of fear. He'll be like coming with a saw for your arm,
my
plucking your
God,
eyes out.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Oh,
This is
God.
why we drink.
Phil's gonna hang up on us.
I
dude.
know.
That's it.
He's
I'm
gonna
done.
call us at 3 a.m. and be like, "Screw you guys, I can't sleep."
This is why we drink. This is why we drink.
That's it. That's
exactly
the point. That's the point. All the things that keep us awake at night, and the one thing that helps us forget all about them.
Beer.
That's right.
Which now is the perfect time to do this because I feel like your
Nice.
game is perfect. If you're scared, people should play your game.
That's awesome. I love that you made this the wheel of drinks. You made the wheel of drinks. That was our new beer goal this week.
So explain this so that the listeners have an idea of what's going on here.
All right. So in the Wheel of Drinks, if you go to Phil's Facebook page, it's
Beer
if you want
Goals.
to tell the people what it is, Beer Goals.
Beer goals. Yeah.
You can see he did this thing called the Wheel of Drinks. He kind of made his own little game with a paper plate, And what do you use, like a thumbtack, like in the middle, right?
Yeah, so our beer goal this week was it's a wheel of drinks. You get a paper plate, you put what you want to drink on it. So I chose cheap wine. I'm a cheap wine guy. A delicious craft beer, some hard booze. I went with the Captain Morgan, and then I had somebody gave me a hard seltzer. I had a White Claw. And
Hey, no laws on what you drink laws, man.
So you put those all on there, whatever you want to drink, and you put the little tack in there, and then you spin it, and wherever it lands, you got to do a drink, and you just keep going. I say my thing is you keep spinning it until the room is spinning. There you go.
Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, I know this.
Fantastic.
So I got beer on here. I got the hard liquor. I got just water, and then I did claws.
You got
It's
claws.
funny. I did
Oh, you
claws.
did the claw. Nice. All right.
Did claws, yeah.
I was wondering what that was. Your handwriting on this is pretty awful. I'm not gonna-
I should have been a doctor.
Yeah. Should have been a doctor.
But dude, claws is essentially any hard seltzer. I
Yeah.
have high noons in there. I got so we'll do it. I did notice every time we do spin it though, it keeps landing on the bottom one. So whatever's on the bottom,
There.
really
You can make it a little
That's
stickier.
called
You
gravity.
can fine tune it. You can fine tune it to your
yeah.
to your desires.
I gotta maneuver it. But okay. So you guys ready?
I think you
Do
gotta
it.
flatten it out, buddy.
All right, we're gonna do it this way. Then it won't stop. Ooh, hard liquor.
Nice. You gotta do a shot.
Oh,
Gets you there
man.
quicker.
Phil, I'm gonna make a bigger version of this and hang it on the wall.
Oh,
And it's gonna be tight. And we can play with people every time they come on the
Like
show.
that would be
You need
amazing.
a Price is Right sized wheel,
Yeah.
dude. Like something that
With that
you have to
big
use your muscle
triangle.
to crank around. Oh hell
Yeah.
yeah!
Oh,
Yes.
dude. and we'll name it Phil's Wheel of
Drinks. Wheel of booze.
Yeah.
No.
Right?
Instead
No.
of Price is Right, Phil is right, and we'll crank like every time we do it. Phil was right.
Yeah.
Crank. There we go.
We got a
Just
big wall in
being
front
like-
of us that'll be perfect on. Oh man.
Dude, Phil, this was incredible, man. It
Mhm.
was
Oh, thank
awesome.
you.
So, but tell people where to follow you,
Yes.
how we can see your stuff, like all the
Yes.
outlets you're on. We
Yes,
know
please
Friendster,
follow-
obviously number one, right?
Yes, number one Friendster, Beer Goals on Facebook, Beer Goals on YouTube, Beer Goals 50 on Instagram. We're even on the TikTok, as the kids call it, Beer Goals 50. But so look up Beer Goals Facebook for your daily beer reviews, beer jokes, and our wacky beer videos. So check it out.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Derek, as always, love you, buddy.
Thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you
again,
guys.
man.
Cheers.
And we'll be seeing you.